From a Manchester United point of view, I mean, you look at last season, the gap between Arsenal and Man United come the end of the season, 29 points. Yep. We're in the final third of the season, but may still a way off. The gap so far is 21 points. So in terms of the rivalry between these two clubs, is it purely now based on the history between these clubs that we've just been watching?
Yeah, 100%. I think Manchester United are a million miles away from where they need to be. Arsenal had a little period where, they were struggling, to get to the heights that they had set, but they've managed to get it back and, challenge at the top end. I think this season they might look back and say it was an opportunity, probably gonna miss for them. But when you look at Manchester United, I mean, there's just something wrong with the full football club. Every single story is negative. I mean, it doesn't matter. Even Sir Jim Radcliffe's gone in and tried to change everything as well, and everything that seems to be happens negative. On the pitch is negative. A new manager comes in, and there was some decent, minutes within games where you thought, right, Manchester United might be starting to get it right. I still think the manager will turn it around. I do. I mean, it's a big sum.
What do you base that on?
I just think it was a similar, and I know it's a different league, but it was a similar story to when he went into Sporting Lisbon as well. Big club, underachieving. He's going to have to be given the time. They can't keep getting rid of managers, Manchester United. They just can't do it. And not only that, they've thrown money at it. I think, we speak about Manchester City not spending money in the summer. Manchester United were the total opposite. They spent money, backed Eric Ten Hag, when there was really nothing left to back. I mean, it was so poor, it was only going to go one way. You've then allowed them to go and bring in, his type of player, shall we say, and it's not worked. And another manager's come in now, and he's going to have to clear it all away. But there's just so many underperforming players at Manchester United. It just seems to be I don't know, as I said, I don't speak to anybody there. There just seems to be the culture seems to be all wrong at Manchester. And as I said, even you go back to Sir Alex Ferguson, and everything around the club was so positive. And I know that's a long time ago, but even the canteen, the training set, every single thing was positive. All you hear now is just negativity, and it just breeds. It breeds.
Yeah. The thing is, Boyd is saying, he went into Sporting Lisbon and changed it around. In that league, it's a bit different. All you're chasing down is Porto and Benfica. So you go in and you go, right, long as I can half the points with them two teams and I match them with the other, we could win the league. That's not the case here. He's got so much to do. There's so many teams above Man United now, that have got better players than Man United, not just having, fluky seasons. And I don't know where he turns it around. Honestly, I don't know how he turns it around. I mean, it will be so impressive at the highest level if he went and got this team from here to next season getting in the Champions League. He should be knighted.
Yeah, I agree. You know what? He's very good at talking to the media. He's good. I think that's bought him a bit more time. He's very good. He's clever how he speaks. I think it's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of time for Man United to get where they are. He needs 3 or 4 transfer windows, because what he has to do, they need to get rid of players before Man United can get players in. They've got players on massive wages there. Players are not going to move because they know they're not going to get that money anywhere else. So I've said it's a big problem there. They brought in Ashworth, then got rid of Dan Ashworth. I don't get what's going on at the football club. Boydie made a good point. Sir Jim Ratcliffe making lots of cutbacks. This is Man United Football Club. And at the moment, I know Amorim can't think about what's happening outside. He has to take care of what's on the pitch, and he's not doing that at the moment.
Yeah, but it's all very well, Boydie, it's all very well talking about recruitment, talking about changing things in transfer windows, having a number of transfer windows to do that. Listen, report in one of the newspapers today that Kobbie Mainoo is reportedly not going to sign a new contract, that he could perhaps be heading out of the club. In terms of bringing players in, and we were listening to Wayne Rooney this week talking about Manchester United, saying with where they are at now, if he's back in his Everton days, he would have to have a really hard think about whether he goes to United. However much history they have, where they're at now, it's not going to be just as simple as bringing new players.
To be fair, Simon, when you look at and read a few things, there was a few Manchester United fans had a lot to say about what Wayne Rooney said. I think when people like that who made that move, bought into the culture of Manchester United, delivered trophies, when they're saying it, I know Gary Neville's been on about it for a number of years now as well, but there's so much going on that is just negative. The fans, they need to get away from the Manchester United of old, because it's night and day from what that was. Night and day. And when you've got players like Wayne Rooney, like Gary Neville, coming out and saying that, you know, Wayne Rooney has made that move. Wayne Rooney would have woke up one morning when he got a phone call for some Alex Ferguson, absolutely buzzing. I've got the chance to go to Manchester United. He's now looking at it, yeah, albeit his career's finished, and he's saying, I'm not sure I would do the same if it had to happen again. That's how far they've fallen.
You wouldn't. You wouldn't. No. Surely you wouldn't.
No. I don't think you would. And by the way, he's not the only one. I mean, when you look at...
not, 100%.
If you're an elite player right now, an elite player like Wayne Rooney was, you ain't going to Manchester United right now.
They are one of the biggest clubs in the world, but not nowhere near one of the biggest teams.
They're not winning things.
They're not one of the biggest teams. And if you want to go and be successful, you know, these players now want to play in the Champions League. They want to, you know, win trophies playing the Champions League. Man United they're not going to do that at the moment. It's a million miles off. The players that they're down to buying now, and as Clinton said, they've got to change it around, get players out, but the players they're going to be bringing in are going to be heads or tails players. Yeah. Will they be as successful? Will they not? They can't bring in top draw players anymore because of the fair play rule. Yeah, you know, and I read the other day they owe £1 billion. I mean, unbelievable.
And that's why.
The worrying thing as well, though, is, see, when you look at... I mean, look, we all speak about Brighton and Bournemouth and these clubs regarding the recruitment. There's no reason why Manchester United can't be the best in class in terms of that. I mean, they've still got... I mean, as you say, they're still a huge football club. They've got ex-players that would want to help them in terms of, you know, scouting and making sure they've got the best... I mean, if and as I said, no disrespect to Brighton or Bournemouth, if they can get it right, then why can Manchester United not? I mean, they're a huge football club.
They are shopping in... They're shopping totally different. And this is not being disrespectful, but I've seen a lot of Doku, the left-back, and let me tell you, I see him at Lecce, and that's the sort of left-back they're trying to bring in to compete with Man United in the Premier League. And, yeah, he might become a good player, but it's the here and now that you should be trying to sign players for.
Kerkez would have been the exact same at AZ Alkmaar.
Yeah, I get that.
But Bournemouth then gave him a platform, and now one of the big ones will go and buy him for millions. So why can't Manchester United get players like that?
Yeah. And they desperately need to be in Europe next season. I'm listening, if they can win, and it's a big if, the Europa League, Merce.
Rangers have won that.
Then they qualify for the Champions. We'll come to Rangers in a short while.
Up there,
listen, frustrating concede against Real Sociedad on Thursday night, but they take a 1-1 scoreline into the second leg. How difficult is it going to be for United to progress right through to the end of this competition?
I think very difficult. If we're looking at the form of the way they're playing now, and the way I look at it as well is like, that is their bread and butter now. They have to win that trophy, get in the Champions League. What a result they'd have had. I look at this weekend's game. It's not like they can rest all 11 players and go, well, we can't do anything in the league. We'll just rest everybody for next Thursday. They haven't got the players to do that. They've got so many injuries that they'll have to play as strong a team as they can get out on Sunday and then go again on Thursday. And it's just relentless. And at the moment... if they won that, they'd have had a result, a real result. I think we underestimate, you know, you look at it and Tottenham and Man United are supposed to be the two teams that win that. I think sometimes we get a bit disrespectful and a bit carried away with our league, how great it is, that some of these other teams are very good in this competition. And in, you know, two-legged or a one-off game, they will cause Tottenham and Man United a lot of problems.
And Clinton, it was a frustrating night, another frustrating night for Rasmus Højlund. There was a coming together with him and Diego Dallo after he felt he should have teed him up to get the opener for Manchester United. But he's now without a goal in his last 19 games for Manchester United. Is this a confidence thing? Is it a tactics thing?
It's both.
What do you put it down to?
Both. They don't
combination.
They don't create enough chances, I don't think, at Man United. The only one.
Historically, United's success has always been dependent on creating stars from the academy but also paying the biggest transfer fees for the best players. Sir Alex Ferguson broke the British transfer record several times on the likes of Roy Keane, Andy Cole and Rio Ferdinand. Mourinho's €89 million spend on Paul Pogba was a world record, and Solskjaer and Ten Hag were also able to pay big bucks. Manchester United's FA Cup tie against Fulham is a head-scratcher for Rúben Amorim lose, and there will be another pile-on, but paradoxically victory won't cause much celebration. United are still alive in the Cup, but their priority will be the Europa League instead, yet Amorim doesn't have that luxury as he contemplates life in 14th position in the Premier League, 34 points behind leaders Liverpool. PSR restrictions and Ratcliffe's desire to cut costs means expensive new blood isn't an option without a fairy godmother first wanting to buy existing United players. The best homegrown players Kobbie Mainoo and Alejandro Garnacho may be sacrificed for financial governance rather than have a long career at Old Trafford like their predecessors. Amorim has a far weaker hand to rebuild United than Ferguson did from a similar low starting point. His immediate priority this summer is to try and exact some sort of cull to free up budget to bring in his players. Victor Lindelof, Johnny Evans, Tom Heaton and Christian Eriksen are out of contract and Hell want Marcus Rashford, Antony, Jadon Sancho and Tyrell Malacia to finish loan spells strongly to create a market. Nearly everyone else at Old Trafford is available at the right price, headed by Rasmus Højlund and Casemiro. The anticipated upheaval requires diplomatic tact from Amorim at a club already reeling over staff redundancies and rising ticket prices. The charming Portuguese declares honesty is the best policy as he seeks radical change. Amorim needs a Sir Alex Ferguson-style rebuild but has been dealt a far weaker hand. Everybody understands that in football sometimes you stay, sometimes you have to move on, he explains. I like to be clear. I was a player once and used that experience. When you are honest with someone, they can take it. It is hard in the beginning but they will understand. I'm quite honest with my players and sometimes they know they have to move on at the end of the season. It's not about acting ruthless just to show strength, but when I feel something is going to harm the club, I am quite ruthless. I'm trying to make a balance. I see a clear path and I see it from the board also. They are doing difficult changes which aren't popular, but they are doing it because they have a vision. I knew the situation here taking the job. It was a risk, but we are surviving and doing everything. Today is really hard, I know, but this is going to help us in the future. I hope. We will see. By taking England under-19s defender Aidan Heaven and striker Chido Obi Martin from the Arsenal Academy, United are reaffirming their commitment to youth. Ideally, Amorim would also like to sprinkle some stardust to get United closer to their competitors. Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen, currently on loan to Galatasaray from Napoli, has been talked about. So too has PSG defender Nuno Mendes as Amorim stays wedded to playing with wingbacks. He is United's youngest manager for more than half a century and concedes there is an element of learning on the job. We aren't winning enough games, so I don't feel like I am a better coach, he acknowledges. But I have lived here for 3 months and learned certain things. I am a more complete manager because sometimes you need to be in a poor situation to grow. I have felt during these 3 months I am not going to die if I lose 3 games in a row. I've learned to cope and maintain the energy.